Happy New Year, Matt.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
I see you brought a friend.
Yes. Also, I was not calling Steven Grandpa for those who are listening on SoundCloud. I have a small old man on my shoulder.
He does.
He's filled with sweets and love. And sweets and love are candy.
Thank you for specifying.
Yes. Isn't that right?
We can get into so much trouble.
This is weird. Get off my shoulder.
There he goes.
Set him off to the side.
So how in the world are you?
I've been really good and tired, but also good.
Been enjoying these few weeks.
I have. It's an enjoyable 2-week hiatus. 2.5 week. I don't know. I can't remember.
Nah.
It's been a while, but it's been good. Trying to think of my life outside of video games. And it should, if it's taking you this long to think of what has happened in your life that isn't about video games,
not that important.
You're doing something wrong. Got 2 days off because Christmas was on a Monday, New Year's Day was on a Monday, so that was nice because I got 2 days off, or two-day weekends in a row, which was nice. What wasn't nice is that the holiday, after the holiday car checkups from people coming back from where they came from. Before they leave around like Thanksgiving and also Christmas, they get checkups on their car to make sure it's okay to drive there.
Right.
And then when they come back, they're like, oh, it felt like it was, my car was shaking, my steering wheel was doing a weird thing, it was turning. And I'm like, okay. There's like 50 other people that have come in
with the same problem.
Not the same problem, just 50 other people, and it's been crazy. I think this next week we should be fine. The past few weeks, as far as getting stuff done, have been fun. Because you have like 3 mechanics. And one of them had actually been on vacation for all of New Year's week, which he didn't do anything wrong, but it definitely made things a bit more difficult on the other guys as far as getting things done. But yeah, as far as that goes, that's been my real life fun. Oh, I've also I'm not doing any kind of like New Year's resolution or anything. I just want to try and do something new. So I'm trying to cut back on certain things, try and be a little bit healthier. So I'm trying to cut soda out for other things like tea. I have this green citrus tea that just tastes delicious.
I do like green tea, green iced tea.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I hate that trying to eat better or try and drink not as unhealthy things is always more expensive than being unhealthy.
Of course.
It's like, I don't know. It makes me sad because I spent like $11, maybe $12 on 2 12-packs of teas, whereas buying 2 12-packs of canned soda would be like $8.
And soda's like always going on sale too.
Yeah, which does not make it fun.
No.
I haven't completely cut back entirely, but I have gone down from, I would drink like maybe 4 to 5 sodas a day, and then like the amount of water that you're supposed to drink, I think it's like 8 cups. Or I think it's different for each person. I'm supposed to drink 8 cups of water. But I have dropped that down to, I've been drinking at least 1 soda a day. Not like I need to drink at least one soda, but I've dropped down from 5 to 1, which has been pretty good. Now I just have to change my food eating habits. The day after I had decided to do that, after I'd bought a bunch of tea, I was like, I'm gonna cut back on drinking soda. I'm gonna try and eat a little bit healthier. The next day, I went over to dinner with my mom's house, and she just had a whole bunch of greasy pizza. She had a blooming onion from Outback that she'd gotten from lunch, and she had saved like most of it. And she had a bunch of, or she had like 2 liters of root beer, and she was just like, I got a bunch of food. And I was like, no,
It's the wrong food.
it was the wrong food, but I still ate it because it was delicious. But yeah, cutting back on fast food, or at least not as healthy fast foods, like Taco Bell. Can't be eating that as much as I have been.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun. And then once I get eating and food down, try and do some exercising. But that'll come later, baby steps. As far as video games go, man, what have I been playing in the past 2 weeks? I've played Torchlight 2, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a dungeon crawler. It's like Diablo. It's very similar to Diablo. It's on Steam. That's pretty fun. I've been playing that with my brother and 2 of our buddies. Buddies. Sound like I said bunny. That's been pretty fun. We've been trying to play whenever we're all available. That's the hardest part about that game, is trying to figure out a time during the week where we're either not tired or we're not spending time with other people. So that's been really fun, which is why my computer is not in front of me. I actually left it at my mom's house. I've been playing Ark. What is it?
Survival something?
Yeah. Wyatt actually got that for me for Christmas.
Ah. Off Steam. Which you are apparently allergic to.
Yes. I'm allergic to online gaming. It doesn't help because it's the majority of what I like to do. That's fun. I only played that for about an hour. And we started off on he did some weird settings to where we were gaining levels just from breathing. So, yeah, that was fun. I guess it's kind of like going into Minecraft on creative mode. You don't really know how to build anything. You can just get everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't really a challenge, and I wasn't really learning how to do anything. I was just able to have everything at the click of a button. So I feel like if I go back and I learn how to play the game right, it'll be more fun. Also, I didn't know this. They've got like some weird challenge going on. I guess they just released a new patch or some DLC for it, where I guess there's this really hard boss that they've created, and apparently no one's beaten it yet. I think it's been out for maybe 2 months now, and the game devs have said that if you take a picture of yourself killing this thing, you get like $2,000.
Oh.
Yep. To my knowledge, no one has done it yet since I've last played, so must be really tough.
Wow.
So that is also a thing I've been playing. I decided to get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I'm pretty sure in the past I said that I wouldn't buy that game.
If you did, I don't recall.
Right. I think I did is the only reason why I'm saying it, and the reason that I went ahead and got it is because I wanted to have something to where I can play with other people in case people come over, because Smash may or may not be coming out. I don't know. That'd be my favorite game to have to play with other people.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, everything crossed. But if not, I'd like to have a few other games. So I've got what did I just say? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is actually I used to really like Mario Kart games. I think my last favorite Mario Kart game was probably Double Dash.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the gimmick behind that. I thought it was cool. And then playing this one again, kind of like rekindled a small flame of mine. Racing games used to be a big part of my childhood, and I really liked them. So it was fun to play some of those maps that I used to play, because they've got a bunch of racing tracks from like other games, and they've just redone them, and it's really cool. And they look good. Then I can't remember if I think I did or talked about it on the podcast before we took 2 weeks off. But in case it didn't, Pokken. Is it Pokken DX? Yeah, Pokken DX.
Pokken Tournament DX.
Yeah, have that. That's another party game that I've got. Like I guess kind of party game. It's multiplayer. Played that a little bit more. That's really learning how to play that, or actually knowing how to play that game, makes it so much more fun.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Any fighting game. If you just that's one reason why I don't really like a bunch of fighting games and I just stick to Smash, is because I've played Smash my whole life and I've never touched another fighting game before, and I don't know any combinations in it. This has been, I think, the second fighting game I've ever played in my life that I actually know how to do combos, and that's really fun. But yeah, I haven't actually gotten to play the multiplayer with people before, but when I do, I'll probably slaughter them. I don't know anyone else who plays Pokken other than Wyatt, but he plays it for his Wii U. And then the Mac Daddy of them all, the big Kahuna
Tiny, insignificant
game,
tiny, so small.
got Breath of the Wild.
You might have heard of it.
Maybe just a little bit.
I think it won like one indie award. I'm not sure.
An indie award.
Yeah.
That would be funny if it actually. That's what it got. It was like, it's not even an indie game.
It sweeps the indie awards too.
What? No.
It's so good.
Yeah, I got that. My brother got that for me. Got me all the DLC for it too.
Ooh.
Thanks for doing that. That's definitely what I need in my life, is more side quests.
Did you go to Eventide Island yet?
I have not.
Okay. You will go to Eventide Island and you will think, oh my goodness, I want a longer version of this. And in the DLC there is. That's all you get.
I've seen it. I saw Wyatt play that.
So you
play
understand what happens once you get there.
And it's probably my favorite shrine in the whole game.
It's easily mine.
If not, it's definitely in my top 5.
Yeah.
It's the idea of it is just so good. But yeah, I've had it for 2 weeks, and I've really only been able to play maybe 2 or 3 hours a night. And I've done,
which in that game is like, you play for 3 hours and you feel like you've done nothing.
Exactly, which sucks because I come home from work and that's all I want to do, and I haven't played 2 to 3 hours every night since I've had it. I've had a bunch of other things that have gone on to where I couldn't do that, because I've either told people I'd go out and hang out with them. New Year's hung out with a bunch of people, so that hasn't been like 2 weeks of 2 to 3 hour gameplay every night. But I have tried to play it as much as humanly possible, and I have gotten to the point where I've beaten all the Divine Beasts, got the Master Sword, almost got. I'm trying to do all of the captured memories without looking up a walkthrough. I want to see if I can do it. I have 4. I found 2 of them on accident. So I'm feeling pretty good. Granted, that has taken me a while. I've given up. I gave up trying to do that because that was like one of the first things I wanted to do after I talked to Impa about it. Was I wanted to go ahead and complete that before I do anything, because I heard that if you don't get all the caption memories, you just get like the normal ending. But if you get them all and then you beat Ganon, you get the good ending. So that's what I want to do. It's taking such a long time to find them. There's of course like a few of them that are like really easy to find. Like there's one of like a fountain ruin that's like right in front of Hyrule Castle. There's any of them that show like big monuments or statues are usually pretty easy, because they'll usually have like Hyrule Castle or Twin Peaks in them. And those are the ones that I've found. But yes, I want to do as much as I can before I go and beat Ganon. That being said, I'm not going to beat everything before I beat Ganon. I just want to do as much as I can. I want to do caption memories. I want to get... I think I want to get at least half of a third stamina wheel. I probably won't need it, but I'd like to. I also want to upgrade my armor a bit more.
You should do all the shrines.
That's something I plan on doing even after I beat Ganon. I don't think I'll beat all of the... or get to all the shrines before I beat it, just because that'll take so much longer. Especially because I've done most of everything without looking it up, which I'm super proud of. 'Cause I love doing things like that, and Legends of Zelda games just in general, just because they usually have clever ways of doing certain things. And very rarely do I ever really need to look something up. There have been a few shrines where I've just been like, what do I do? There was a constellation shrine where it had like these weird constellations up on a wall, and it had 4 constellations on the side, and then it had 5 little spots where you put little sphere keys in, and right next to those little holes was like a number of torches going from like 1 to 5, and there was a hint plate right there, and it was like, look for the constellations,
which doesn't help
for
at
guidance. And I looked at it and was like, what do I do? I sat in front of that shrine for like 5 minutes trying to figure out what was going on, and eventually I just started like putting the balls in the random keyholes, and that didn't help. So I was like, alright, I gave up. But that has been the only shrine that I've had to look up. There have been a few of them that have actually been like really cool, because like there's a few of them. The ones that are like considered blessing shrines, where it's just you just walk in, there's a chest, and then you talk to the Sheikah person.
Yeah, because you've already done something outside. That's a challenge.
Sometimes there's a few of them you just find, and it's just like, here's a blessing.
Yeah, and sometimes you just have to find the shrine.
Yeah.
The
ones where you just, there's nothing that you, like there's no challenge to try and find them. You just randomly come across them, and then you go, and it's like, here's a blessing. Here's like 300 rupees, or here's a elemental weapon. I was like, but I didn't do anything to earn it.
There's 120 shrines. Shut your mouth.
I don't know. There's a few of them that kind of feel like...
I actually enjoy the combat ones where you fight the Guardian Scouts. I like those.
I'd like them more if there weren't so many duplicates. Because there's a bunch of like tests of minor strength, tests of strength,
moderate strength, test of major strength, and there's like
I
did a test of major strength when I had like 5 hearts, and I was like, oh, I feel like I should be stronger for this part, but I'll go ahead and do it.
I mean, like, and they're really not that hard.
No,
it's just a matter of like, I'd say your weapons definitely matter when going into those, because like a major test of strength, those things have a lot of health, and you can parry and you can do the counter attack as many times as you want, but if your weapons aren't doing enough damage, you're gonna run out of weapons before you kill this thing. And they're not hard to telegraph either. The attacks are super easy.
Yeah.
And they have like 3 stages. It's like one was just it slashes at you, and then it jumps back, and then it's a spinny attack, and then it does the thing where it creates an updraft, and you go over and you bonk it on the head.
It's also a really good way to practice your
Combat
perfect
skills.
shield for the full-size Guardians.
That's true. Still haven't gotten that down. And like yesterday or the day before, I just learned how to shield surf. I had tried to figure out how to shield surf for such a long time, and then finally I got the hint in a loading screen to tell me how to do it. And that's all I've wanted to know.
Is shield surf?
That's the one thing I didn't know how to do. Like I knew how to perfect what is it?
Perfect block.
Perfect block, yeah. I know how to do that.
Perfect
Know
dodge.
how to counterattack. All that. Just want to know how to surf down little hills.
Like Legolas.
Yes, it's cool. It's a cool. I really like that. To just be able to go down little hills.
And I also like when you go over a cliff or something, you can take out your paraglider and you still stay on your shield.
Yeah. It also adds very nice speedrunners figured out that you could like do that for an extra jump, which is also
bomb
pretty nice.
jumping.
Shield jumping.
But you combine it with the bombs too.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that. But yeah, that game is... Oh, it's so much fun. I love it so much. I love the Legend of Zelda series so much. And this game is just... so good to play a new Legend of Zelda game. Because I didn't play...
Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword. That wasn't more of a... Like, I was on the train of, like, I didn't like it. I don't really like the art style of it, and I feel like the sky area is a little bad, but other than that, I can't really say anything about the fighting or the rest of the game. I just didn't have a Wii U.
Well, it was on the Wii.
Was it on the Wii?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, I didn't have a Wii at the time. I would not say Legend of Zelda is a 10 out of 10 game. I think people who give it that are being a little too generous. There's definitely problems with it. And
what problems do you have? I'm curious.
So just one that's just kind of out there is rain. I think it's a nice way to keep the open world kind of changing. You know, it's never really the same. It's not like sunny during the day and then at night it's calm and cool. You're cloudy and then you got rain and then you have thunderstorms, and thunderstorms are okay. The problem I have with them are when you're in the more of the late game area, there are very few strong hitting weapons that aren't made of metal that you can use, and sometimes you don't have any. And other than, I guess, guardian weapons don't attract electricity
I don't think
either.
so.
So you can use those if you have them. But it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to run around kind of defenseless, other than like maybe a bow or a dragon bone moblin club.
Yeah.
That's one. The other is the copy and paste shrines. Some people have a problem with the 4 divine beasts being the dungeons, and then like a bunch of like shrines to kind of like replace bigger, more complicated dungeons. I really like the divine beast dungeons. I think they're one of the coolest things that they've done. What was it? I can't remember which. There was one of them that I didn't like a whole lot, but I like them as far as dungeons go. I think it's a cool idea. The bosses, I have the blights. I hate them. They're so... Fighting each one is just kind of like fighting the same one that I just fought in the last dungeon. The only difference is that this one has...
a different attack pattern.
Yeah, it's either really fast, it, shoots fire at me, it summons tornadoes or anything. And they're not that hard either.
No.
Like, I'd say the hardest one is probably the I can't remember their names. The camel, the electric,
The Thunder Blight.
He's the hardest one.
Yeah, easily.
And it was very hard to kill him at his last little bit of health, because I couldn't touch him with anything, and he kept zooming up to me, and it kept bugging me. But it was more of, it wasn't so much. I'm not saying it wasn't fair or it wasn't unfair. It's completely fair. It's more of my ability to dodge him correctly and hit him properly. I just didn't know how, but it made it a little irritating. So he was probably, as far as a boss goes, the best one out of the 4. But I think the one that I had the most fun fighting was I don't remember the exact name, but the Wind Blight.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him a lot.
I like the Water Blight one.
That one was also pretty good.
Yeah, I think the issue with rain is normally in Zelda games, they give you an obstacle or an annoyance to deal with. And then later in the game, you get an item or something to help with that, to make it so that that's not an obstacle anymore. And I kept waiting to get, like, gear that allows you to climb in the rain without slipping. Never happens.
Yeah.
You get climbing gear,
Doesn't help you
but
in the rain.
even that, like, gives you just a slightly better chance of climbing what you're trying to climb.
I think the best thing they have to counter rain is probably
The gale,
yeah,
Rivali's gale.
Rivali's Gale. Yeah, that's the only thing you can really do because it gives you fast and high ascent without climbing or using any
And
stamina.
it does have the fastest cooldown.
Yes, which
of
I'm
any of them.
very happy about. And that's something that I really like because I've heard a few people complain about like the items in the game of like not having like unique items, kind of like the boomerang and bow weren't unique items anymore. They were just part of it. Or having like a...
I don't like the fact that there's no hook shot. Like, that's my big...
I don't have a huge problem with it. I think it would have been... If they had like put it in there and had it take up like a bow slot and just made it like an easier way to climb up mountains, I think that would have been a really cool idea.
Or how the boomerangs are considered melee weapons and just if you threw them, they acted like a boomerang. Do that with the hook shot. Have the hook shot take the place, like you said, a slot of your bow inventory and just have it be like a breakable item, but it doesn't use any ammo. It just does its own thing.
Right.
And certain things or certain places you could use it on to, instead of climbing, maybe you could use that to climb during the rain sequences.
That would be really cool. Also save ammunition on arrows.
Yeah.
That's...
But have it still be able to break. Sure,
Right.
just like everything else.
Right. But I like that in the dungeons, you're not just getting a gem. It's like you're not getting, something that represents a goddess. It's like, oh, this one represents green.
But in the dungeons, you are doing the same thing in all of them.
You are doing the same thing in all of them, and that kind of bugs me too.
Yeah.
It's more of it's more of getting around it that I like about it. That's the part that kind of feels like a dungeon because each one kind of is one of the... They all have something a little bit unique of getting around it or getting to the little spots. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's basically the same thing, which is kind of short. Gross.
They're really short.
Yeah. I guess I don't like them as much as I thought. But I like the idea of them. Like giant roaming dungeons, I think is a really cool idea. I just think that the execution of it wasn't that great.
I feel like they maybe came up with the idea for it later in development and they didn't have a whole lot of time to develop it further, so they just were like, okay, I've got this one idea for... One of them could be a giant moving mechanical creature, and there's a mechanic that you have to, like, control from the inside. And, like, that was an idea for one of them, and they ran out of time, and they were like, well, let's just make 4 of these things. Like, that's really how it comes across as.
Yeah, because I think one of the best parts of Zelda games, like some people like the dungeon part of the dungeon.
And I don't.
Some people like the boss fights. I like them both, because one of my favorite parts about The Legend of Zelda is it's a puzzle game also. And I like being tested. I like having to think about something, not just kind of like barge in and, it's all about going in guns ablaze all the time. There are a few games where I like to do that. And there's some games where I like to think about, like, how do I get to this door? Like, finding one of the little hint statues in a dungeon is like, there's a treasure somewhere, go find it. I'm like, oh, where is it? There's a few things about it that aren't really like super, are incredibly hard. Like, oh, hit that switch with an arrow, and it's like, oh, that's the puzzle. It's like,
yeah,
a bit more thought could have been put into that, but I mean, I'll take it. It's basically something that people made to protect something, so. I guess you can kind of consider it that. But you get special weapon in it. You get, to fight a really cool boss. And then you get a stupid gem in a heart container. Breath of the Wild, you don't get any cool weapons other than Guardian weapons, but they're all kind of poop because they're all the little silly. That's another thing. If they had, like, different levels of those baby Guardian
Scouts,
it would have made it a lot better, because it would have put in that whole, it makes it seem like the dungeon's a lot longer than it actually is, but it's really just because you're trying to defend, a difficult enemy while you're also trying to run around and do something, which could possibly get annoying now that I'm thinking about it. But it would have just been a lot more better if you could get some better weapons other than breaking your better weapons on these little dinky Roombas with legs, and then getting like a little sword that's like, oh, I remember using this when it was good, like 20 heart containers ago.
Yeah, but I mean, you could also do things like perfect shielding and deflecting their lasers, and that does a huge amount of damage.
Right. But see, for people who are bad at the game like me, I have to just hit them.
Wow.
Which is my fault. But the rewards you get from beating them is what I really like. I like that they give you something that can either help you in the overworld, or they just help you in combat. I think my favorite one is actually the See, I'm never gonna remember. I could play that game for years, and I don't think I'd ever remember anyone's name other than Link and Zelda and Ganon.
You don't remember King Rabosh Sawa?
No. The Gerudo, one that lets you do lightning for a charge attack. I think that's probably my favorite one. I like it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, they're all good. Like all the powers that you get, they're extremely useful.
Yeah, and I like that the revive you will get. It's the only one you get one use out of. But it makes sense because cooldown. You shouldn't have like an automatic revive every time.
Yeah.
Is it the longest charging one too?
It is.
Okay.
It takes like 15 minutes, I think.
That's good. I haven't actually like checked it.
Used it or
no? I've used it. I've died a few times.
If you want to see how much time is left, you can go into your inventory and look at it at the orb, and it'll tell you how long until you can use it again.
Gotcha. That's a lot about Legend of Zelda. It's not even a topic.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I haven't even gone through what I've been playing.
I know. That's been like, 15 minutes of just that? Steven, how about you? How you doing?
Well, I'm still playing White Knight Chronicles 2. I'm at the end of the game. And the first game was not difficult. The second game, it just feels like you get to a point where it's just like difficulty spike, difficulty spike, difficulty spike. You have to like change your tactics for every boss fight, and it's a little bit annoying. And I've discovered something about level 5 games or games made by them. They don't look all that great. Like they're not going to win any award shows for their graphics. Mechanically, they're okay, and their storylines are usually very bland, although this one did have some very nice twists that I did not see coming, but for the most part, bland storyline for an RPG. There's something about them though that makes you want to keep playing them. I remember owning Dark Cloud for PS2, very much like White Knight Chronicles. does not look very good. The storyline's very simplistic, and it's very grind heavy, and you can play for hours and not accomplish a whole lot. And I think I ended up trading it in. But oddly enough, I played through the game like twice, and I didn't like it that much. But is that weird, or because I've never had a game like that? And while White Knight Chronicles is much better, and I will not be trading that game in, it just it has the same feel to it. Like, I like playing this game. I can't put my finger down, but it feels fun. It's almost like it kind of drips rewards to you, but it's so slow. It's such a slow drip. You feel very good after each battle. Like, and when you go for a long time after leveling up a bunch, which takes forever, by the way. Like, leveling up takes about an hour to get one level. And you don't get that many skill points to unlock more skills. So I usually wait a long time until I get skill points, and it's very rewarding to go through and see what I can get and make my characters like super strong compared to what they used to be. So in that regard, it's a really good game. I'm still playing Project Cross Zone. It's too long of a game. I'm like on chapter 31 or 32. The chapters keep getting longer. I looked it up. There's like 40 chapters in the game, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I want this to end.
I don't even know if Fire Emblem games are that long.
Yeah, it's long. It's getting to the point where the battles are like not just 1 hour, like we're closing in on 2 hours per chapter. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's too long. Still a good game, just way too long. Like, it could have been, I think 30 chapters would have been just fine. But they keep teasing at the plot too. The plot's not what you play the game for, but it is kind of the typical, like, villains, like, just wait until this happens, or we're going to, next time we see you, it'll be a different story, and then nothing happens.
Basic villainy.
Yeah. I also got, I got Breath of the Wild for the Switch. Had it for the Wii U, but now I've got it for the Switch now. Also received, also got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Assassin's Creed Origins, and then I bought myself Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Wii U. So I'm all Xenoblade Chronicles out. I think I need to get the strategy guides for them. They seem like the type of RPG you definitely want to play with a guide.
Probably. Looks very pretty. Xenoblade 2.
Yes. It does. It's got a cel-shaded look to it, which the other two games have not had yet, but it's very anime looking. So, but yeah, the voice acting's not that great. And there's a lot of it. Not all of it's bad. I mean, the main character is... Sometimes he sounds Scottish, sometimes he sounds British, sometimes he sounds Australian. It's kind of like, I don't know what they were going for.
Right. I like some games that are like that. I think my biggest problem with them is just the repetitive commentary nature? Or quotes.
Yeah.
Just like,
And the battle chatter is like constant.
Sometimes with games like that, I'll just turn the volume off. I was like, oh, I don't want to hear you.
You could turn the battle voices off too.
Right.
I might do that.
So then you can hear the music.